Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, first of all, we need some light out here. It's a little dark. It's a little cloudy outside today. We got the Jeep back. Not that it went anywhere. Krista had it out the other day, taking it for a ride. We really need to do something with the bumpers on this thing. You can see the Tacoma still here, sitting out in the garage, sitting on top of the Tundra, which is what I want to talk about today. You know, there's been a lot of talk recently, of course, about the upcoming 2020 Toyota Tundra, you know, or 2021 probably. The redesigned Tundra that's coming, you know, a lot of speculation out there about twin turbos and hybrid motors and the combination of and smaller motors, V6s. So I thought I'd get on here and talk a little bit about what a hybrid Tundra is and what are the negatives about it. You know, people like to talk about the positives of it, and it's kind of like insurance, you know. Everything's wonderful and great until you need to use it or something happens, and then things might not be so good. So what is a hybrid Tundra, or what will it be? Well, a hybrid, by definition, I guess, is a gasoline motor combined with an electric motor, you know, working in synchronicity, and some sort of a charging receptacle to receive the electrical current that's generated when the vehicle, in this case, the Tundra back there, brakes, right? You have to have a way to collect that so that you can use it later. That's the basic definition. So what are the bad parts about it? I mean, what should you expect if you get a hybrid Tundra? Well, first of all, if Toyota follows the norm, the battery is going to be integrated into the powertrain, which would make sense. I mean, how else would they do it, right? And if that's the case, and the battery fails, which eventually it's going to, right? I mean, you can only recharge a battery so many times before you can't recharge it anymore. Then the truck will no longer work. It will no longer move. Now, hopefully, they'll come up with a system that is sort of independent. In other words, you can still utilize the gas part of the system, even if the electrical part of the system doesn't work. Hopefully. But if they don't, if they follow the norm, you're going to be stuck somewhere, and now you're going to have to deal with some sort of a tow probably, and then a big bill to have those batteries replaced, most likely. And that brings me to my next point, number 2, the cost to replace the batteries. Right now, in today's money, it costs somewhere around $2,600 to replace the batteries. Now, there's also talk that they're going to refurb these batteries and that you'll be able to get a used battery. But the problem with that is it's not going to hold the same charge for as long, or it's not going to last as long, if you will, as a brand new battery. So you might get a deal in the short term, but you might have to go ahead and spend it again in the longer term, or get stranded all over. Who knows? Next up, there's no real way to know how long the batteries are going to last, right? I mean, you can't buy one and they're going to guarantee that you're going to be able to drive this car for 80,000 miles before you have any problems. The reason is that we don't all drive the same way, right? Some of us drive harder, some of us drive more gently. You never know how long they're going to last. They can only give you an average based on history. Well, in this case, there is no history. The Toyota Tundra, the new Tundra, should they go with the hybrid system, is going to be a new commodity. There isn't going to be any history. And they're certainly not out there driving them, you know, 80,000, 100,000 miles times, I don't know, 100,000 trucks to get an average. So all they can do is take a guesstimate, and you and me get to be the guinea pigs on it. Now, I will say that with the current hybrids that are out there, you know, the Priuses and whatever else, they're lasting somewhere between 90 and 150,000 miles, which is pretty darn good. That's probably pretty close to the lifetime of the vehicle for the first owner, should you keep it that long. And after that point, of course, it's going to go into the used market. Now, hopefully, they'll replace those batteries so that you don't have to worry about doing that yourself, because I can just hear coming up in the future that people are buying these trucks with, I don't know, 75, 85,000 miles. Wait a minute, we have a car out there, you see that? These neighbors. But you won't hear that anymore in the new hybrid Tundra. But anyway, I can just hear people buying these cars with 75, 80,000 miles, something like that on them, and then the batteries fail. Now, if you didn't get the extended warranty, because you know they're sold as is normally, if there's no factory warranty left, you're gonna have that $2,500, $2,600 bill. Who knows? Next up, number 4, real savings. You know, the hybrids cost more money to begin with, right? You're not gonna pick up a hybrid for the same price that you're gonna pick up a gasoline motor or a gasoline powered Tundra. It makes sense, right? It has, in essence, a whole nother electrical motor in it, plus the batteries and the charging system and all that good stuff. So they're gonna cost you more money. So what you have to look at is how much fuel am I going to save by driving a hybrid at, like, I don't know, 30 miles per gallon, versus just driving a regular gasoline engine at, let's say, 12 miles per gallon. Most times it's going to be years, maybe even a decade, before you realize any savings or break even by having a hybrid powered Tundra. So is it really worth it? We got the neighbor out there running his cars. Awesome. All right, next up is the tinkering factor. Do you like to get out there, pop the hood, get under there, I don't know, change your own oil, change your filters, change your plugs, maybe tweak a little bit if something's wrong? You're not gonna be able to do that. Once these hybrids come out, unless you're an electrical engineer, you're not gonna be able to get under there and tinker with anything. You might be able to change the oil in your gasoline powered part of the system, but you're not gonna be able to get under there and do anything else. And forget about modding. I mean, why would you put a TRD exhaust on, for example, like what I have right now in my V8 Tundra, when you're not gonna get anything out of it? Because if you go to a hybrid, the whole point is to save, right? So we're gonna get a smaller motor, a V6 most likely, paired with that electric motor, and you're not gonna get any sound out of it. You're gonna lose that awesome V8 growl that you get, that I get right now, out of my Tundra back there with the TRD exhaust on it. Probably gonna really put a big dent in the aftermarket parts segment, except for people that have the older and the used, and that'll hang around and, you know, for a while, maybe 10 years, something like that. But then you're gonna see those places start to decline because the common Joe, unless you're an electrical engineer, is probably not going to be able to work on their own vehicles. Next up, and this I found kind of interesting, did you know that in the event of an accident, there is a high chance of getting electrocuted? Now it makes sense, right? I mean, you're riding around sitting on top of a battery pack, a high voltage battery pack, right? Well, what happens if you get in a wreck? And of course, that system is going to be compromised, probably going to contact some other metal part within the car, and it's going to send a charge through it. Now you're sitting in that metal car, right? Higher chance of electrocution. It's also going to delay the response time of anybody coming to help you out, right? I mean, if you're an EMT and you're approaching an electric car, you have to be aware that there are high voltage batteries in there. So they're going to have to add some sort of a test, a meter, something like that, that checks out to see if the car is charged before they go up and touch it, so that they don't endanger themselves while they're trying to help you. Just one of those little things, again, that, yeah, if everything goes great and there's never an accident, well, who cares? You're never gonna have to worry about it. But you know that's not the way it's gonna be. People are gonna wreck cars just like they wrecked them today, whether it's a hybrid or not. Just something else to think about. Anyway, I just want to get on here, run through a few things that I've read recently about the hybrids. Yeah, they do have their place, I will admit, but they're not all as perfect and rosy as everybody makes it out to be. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this stuff. Does it concern you at all? I know there's a lot of people out there who have zero interest in a hybrid. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.